Sorry about it, folks. Good afternoon and welcome to the March 24, 2026 meeting of the Georgetown County Council. Please take this time to silence your cell phones, that little button on the side, so we can all be present for the information to be presented. Note for the record, we do have a quorum present. Please join us as Councilor Bishop Cooper leads us in the invocation, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance.
Heavenly Father, your word tells us that you are with us. We thank you for bringing us together tonight as we carry out the work of this council. We ask for wisdom, patience, and unity. Where there has been disagreement, bring understanding. Help us to focus not on the difference, but what is best for the people we serve. Guide our decision, strengthen our hearts, lead us into all understanding. Help us to reflect with integrity and respect. It is in Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice.
Thank you. We now move down to the approval of our agenda. We have one item that was, the applicant for item 7B has been withdrawn. Ordinance 2606 is no longer being considered. That's the Kent Road rezoning. It's no longer being considered by council. So if you're here to speak on that Kent Road, it's a moot point because it's no longer being considered. It's been withdrawn. Chair will move or entertain a motion to approve the meeting agenda as amended.
So moved.
So moved by Councilor Newton. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilor Morant. Is there any discussion? All in favor, please raise your hand. All opposed? The agenda is approved. We shall move down to special reports and presentations. Our nonprofit spotlight today is St. Christopher's Children. Georgetown County and Francis P. Burnell Foundation are partnering to spotlight a local nonprofit each county council meeting. This week's featured nonprofit is St. Christopher's Children. Ms. Tiffany Slaughter will present. Ms. Slaughter, you have the floor.
Hi, yes, I'm Reverend Tiffany Slaughter Knight. I am excited to be here. We are excited at St. Christopher's Children. I have provided you all with our newest annual report, which has numbers that I will be talking about today, but there is also a pamphlet there, as well as my business card, as well as our upcoming Palmetto Giving Day participation flyer. So I hope that you'll take a time to look at those items. But if you'll turn to the back page with me, we are excited because we just had a strategic planning session, and we have reformulated our mission. It still includes what we've always done, but I just want to read that to you. It's St. Christopher's Children enhances the quality of life for underserved children of Georgetown County through new clothing and orthodontic treatment programs. So we are really here all about the kids, the county, everything that we do. We are for the betterment of our community as a whole. So our vision is that children affected by poverty in Georgetown County will have positive childhoods through improved self-esteem and academic performance, increased school attendance and social participation, and reducing bullying. We have noticed over the years that we have been together since 2007 that school bullying is not getting any better, and students are getting judged by their appearance. And so we are very committed to providing the opportunity for them to have a crisis orthodontic care, as well as clothing, so they can be productive in school and have the equal opportunity to learn without having to fear their safety. We also, just to kind of go over really quickly, our resale store has a new store manager. We would love for you to stop in. It's really the feel of a boutique. We take women and men's clothing, small household items, and jewelry donations. We resell them. Anything that we do not use or sell goes straight to the veterans. We thank Low Country for partnering with us. We also use all of that money to fund our 2 or 3 major programs. So that is one of the programs that we have. We also, of course, talk about our orthodontic program. We are very gracious to the Burnell Foundation and the Jones and Cripps grant, where we are hoping to work to expand our children that we serve here for orthodontic care from 24 to 36. over the next 3 years. So we are really excited about that opportunity to get our wait list down and to help more children in our community. We also have our clothing program. The numbers that we have served continue to rise every year. We helped about 424 students this past year between winter coats, summer dresses, and just general everyday clothing and hygiene products to go to school. And last but not least, we do supplies drives to make sure the nurses have things in the clinic for emergencies. Like if a student uses the restroom in their clothes, there's a replacement there so they don't have to be disrupted in the school day. They can just change clothes and go back to class. And that continued request has increased it with the closing of the paper mill and their ability to ask for funding from that. So we've picked up an additional $3,000 to $5,000 in those requests this year from our nurses, who continue to see a rise in nurse visits over the last 2 or 3 years. They on average see about 15,000 visits a month, and we are trying to help supplement that as much as we can. So please continue to support our nurses, because they also help us very well as we continue to help support our kids. So we are very gracious for the time to show, and if anybody would like more information, stchristopherschildren.org, it's all on there. We are excited. We just were able to get the Spanish translation on there, so now we can serve more of a population in that form. So any questions?
Thank you, Ms. Slaughter. Could you give us the address for the resale store? I know we've got it on our card, but just for the benefit of everyone else here.
Yeah, of course. It is sorry. Thank you. Too many numbers to remember. I'm human. All right. It is 12017 Ocean Highway, Unit C, and it's right across from the Marathon Station by Martin Luther King Boulevard.
Thank you.
Yes, I have a question.
Okay.
You made mention, were there 424 students you said you assisted?
For clothing, yes. We had served another 24 in orthodontic care, so in the past year, we've served about 500 students. Since our inception, we've spent $1.8 million on helping the community in these 2 aspects, and this past year, we spent close to $300,000 helping in those 2 areas.
Do you have specific partners? Are you trying to obtain more partners to assist you with in helping the children?
In terms of priorities, we want to make sure that they have that safe environment at school. So we work really closely with the nurses, and one of my main priorities since I've been there is having quick turnaround time. So anybody wants to volunteer or serve on a council or help with in that capacity, we would love to talk with you. But those shoppers go out and we try to get the clothing requests back to the nurses within 24 to 48 hours. So that is their new goal, to have a quick turnaround response, and the nurses know that they can contact me with other issues if needed.
Thank you.
Ms. Slaughter, are there any particular sizes that are more popular than others that if you wanted to donate?
So we have an Amazon wish list, and all the things that we continuously supply to the schools are on that wish list, and you can get there through our website.
Okay.
But on top of that, we also have, it's in particular, definitely between kindergarten and 2nd grade, those sizes between 4T and like 8 that are, especially with underwear. I actually had to drop off some boys size 6 underwear this week to a local school because they're out again. So that, and as well as pants and leggings for kids to have the emergency clothing available. Because kids don't necessarily return what they get, which is okay. We understand that.
Okay. Are there any further questions for Ms. Slaughter? Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for everything you do for Georgetown County.
Thank you. If any of y'all have any interest in meeting, please set up a time. I would love to speak with you individually about helping your individual districts. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Move down to item 4B, South Carolina County's Insurance Trust Awards presentations. We have a report from Mr. Robert Benfield from SCAC. Mr. Field.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, Council. Thank you once again for allowing me to come before you guys to talk about the great job Georgetown County is doing to protect its employees and protect the assets of the taxpayers. Every year, we look at the programs, claims, things that our members are doing to promote risk management, reduce injuries to employees, and protect the assets of the county. Risk management, by definition, is what we do to keep bad stuff from happening. And the goal of risk management is to protect the county's assets. As you all know, the most important asset a county has is its employees. So the first award I would like to present to you all tonight and discuss is called a Sustained Excellence in Risk Management Award. Of the 42 counties in our program, there are only 5 counties that have achieved this level of excellence in risk management. To qualify for this, you have to not only meet, but exceed our basic standards when it comes to ensuring employee safety, reducing injuries. It takes the buy-in from everybody in your county. Tranja is the risk manager by title and does a great job. But to truly be successful, those counties that have achieved this level of excellence is truly a teamwork. It takes a team to be successful. And that team has to have the support all the way from county council, through administration, to your supervisors, all the way down to your employees. And I'm happy to report to you today that once again, Georgetown County is receiving the Sustained Excellence in Risk Management Award for what you have done to reduce injuries to your employees and to protect the county taxpayers. In addition to reducing employee injuries, another example of this is the money the county is saving the taxpayers. So through your risk management and safety efforts, you have something called an experience modifier, where we look every year and say, how many losses did you have in workers' comp claims? If you had the number you're supposed to have, you get a ratio of a 1. If you had more claims than you're supposed to have, you get penalized for that. It's above a 1. It's my pleasure to report tonight that the experience modifier for Georgetown County in reducing injuries to its employees, your modifier is a 0.87. That's a 13% savings to your county budget, which resulted in Georgetown County saving the taxpayers over $135,000 last year through your risk management awards efforts. I think that's a great job, guys. What do you all think? Give them a hand. This is only possible through the hard work of your employees and as a team, like I said, support from the top down. So that's the first award tonight, is your Sustained Excellence Award. The second award is very innovative. It's called an Outstanding Safety Achievement Award. In the 28 years that I've been working with counties, it's the first time I've ever seen this particular activity conducted, and it has wide-ranging ramifications. At our membership meeting in January, we were able to present this to your county for the work done at the Midway Fire Department. Chief, if you'd like to come up for a second, I'd like to talk about this. You're the first county in South Carolina that we're aware of that actually installed LED lights inside the bays to prevent accidents of the fire trucks backing into the bays. It's very innovative, and if you, Chief, you tell them about it for a second.
Sure, Mr. Chairman, Council. I think you all are familiar with the LED system. We've talked about it before, but we had a little bit of a problem with some trucks hitting doors, and we decided over the years that we can't figure out what's causing it, whether it be RF frequency, radios interfering. For some reason, the doors were coming down. So one of my battalion chiefs, Jerry Libertor, he deserves all the credit. He came up with the idea of installing. We self-installed LED strips that when it's red, we know you're not going anywhere. If it's blinking, stop. If it's fully green, the door's locked, it's open. We did this in April of last year, and we've not had an accident since. And one accident, the whole project cost about $4,900. One accident last year, because we have the heavy hurricane doors, cost me almost double that. So we've been doing good with it.
This simple, amazing idea has not been done in other counties, and since we presented the award to our membership in January, I've had multiple counties go, wow, this is a no-brainer. So once again, you guys are cutting edge, leading on things that can reduce injuries and accidents and save the taxpayers money. So Chief, thank you for your work, and Council for your support for this. If you wouldn't mind, I'd like to present the awards up here. Would you all mind coming down for a picture?
Absolutely.
Tranja, will you please join us?
Would you mind if all the council please joined?
Thank you for everyone who participated and made this county such a great place to live and work. Move down to Proclamation 2604, proclaiming the month of March as Procurement Month in Georgetown County. Ms. Nancy Silver, I have a report from you. You have the floor.
Yep. Thank you, Chairman Elliott, and good evening, Council. My name is Nancy Silver, and I'm the Purchasing Officer for Georgetown County. March is a wonderful month, as it is a month of celebration within our profession. Historically, the month of March has been declared Procurement Month on state and national levels. However, it has not historically been recognized within our own local agency until now. Therefore, let today be an inaugural day of celebration within our own community. I would like to read the proclamation that stands before you today in its entirety. Whereas public procurement and fixed asset management professionals support and enhance the delivery of government services by promoting ethical purchasing practices, and whereas public purchasing involves the management of goods, the establishment of sources and shipping through inventory and warehousing, and the proper disposal of surplus items. And whereas public procurement professionals are responsible for determining which products or services should be purchased to meet specific needs at the lowest possible price within required deadlines without sacrificing quality or service. And whereas public purchasing and materials management professionals in Georgetown County are dedicated to purchasing efficiency in the operation of government and to providing the highest value of taxpayers' dollars. And whereas procurement professionals play a vital role in ensuring that Georgetown County acquires the goods and services necessary to effectively serve its residents while maintaining transparency, fairness, and accountability in the use of public funds. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed that the Georgetown County Council hereby proclaims the month of March as Procurement Month in Georgetown County and recognizes the important contributions of public procurement professionals who work diligently to ensure responsible stewardship of public resources. I ask that you approve this proclamation, and I would like to humbly request a group photo with our procurement staff as well as our finance staff. We could not do what we do without this fantastic team with us. Thank you for your consideration.
Thank you, Ms. Silver. You've heard the report from Ms. Silver. Is there a motion on the floor proclaiming March as Procurement Month in Proclamation 2604?
So moved.
So moved by Councilor Anderson. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, please raise your hand. All opposed? Congratulations. March is Procurement Month.
No, just you. It's good. Give me the update.
All right. Move on down to Resolution 2605, declaring April 2026 as Fair Housing Month in Georgetown County. We have a report from Ms. Juliet Kelso, our Grants and Projects Accountant. Ms. Kelso, you have the floor.
Whereas nationally, the month of April is known as Fair Housing Month, and Georgetown County has historically also claimed the month of April every year as Fair Housing Month, as dictated by some of our grants from the Department of Commerce. Our resolution reads, whereas the Georgetown County Council desires that all of its citizens be afforded the opportunity to attain a decent, safe, and sound living environment, and whereas the Georgetown County Council rejects discrimination on the basis of race, religion, color, sex, national origin, disability, and/or familial status in the sale, rental, or provision of other housing services. And whereas the state of South Carolina enacted the South Carolina Fair Housing Law in 1989, and whereas April is recognized nationally as Fair Housing Month, now therefore let it be resolved the Georgetown County Council does hereby designate April of 2026 as Fair Housing Month. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Kelso. You've heard the report from Ms. Kelso on Resolution 2605, declaring April 2026 as Fair Housing Month in Georgetown County. Is there a motion on the floor? So moved by Councilman Mercado. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Morant. Is there any discussion? All in favor, please raise your hands. All opposed? Congratulations. 2605 passes.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. All right, we'll move down to a public comment. Public comment period is included on each meeting agenda and shall be limited to 30 minutes. Each speaker will be limited to 3 minutes, and no speaker may yield his or her allotted time to another speaker. The timer is provided on screen, and at the end of your time, please wrap up your comments promptly. While speaking, please be sure to address council only and refrain from personal attacks. Council will not respond to any questions during this period. While a speaker has the floor, the public will respect the speaker and allow them their time to address council. Members of the public who wish to address council during the public input period should sign up with the clerk to council before the meeting. Madam Clerk, are there any speakers for tonight's meeting?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, we have 14 speakers. However, there are some that are signed up to speak on item 7B, and that has been withdrawn. Just a reminder, that is the ordinance on Kent Road. Council is not having that for consideration tonight. With that being said, the first speaker is Edward Riccardi.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman and Georgetown County Council. My name is Ed Riccardi, and this is Haley Riccardi. We're the owners of Riccardi's Italian Ice out of Myrtle Beach. And first, Haley's going to tell you a little bit about our company.
We started our business 2009 in Myrtle Beach, and we've been in this business for 17 years, and we're doing good, and everybody's asking us to join, and we're in multiple areas in Myrtle Beach, and now we're like encouraging you to have us here in Georgetown. And we are a family business, and we started one cart, and then we grow like almost 80 spots we have, and we're in Charleston, we're in everywhere around here in South Carolina, and we have over 200 employees, and then we have like local students and young students, and we've been doing this for 17 years, and we already have employees that lawyers and nurses, doctors, and we're so proud of it, but we just like wanna let you know.
Okay, so what we're proposing to the county is, in Horry County, we have the contract for doing the beaches right on the beach. We do the push carts. If you ever go to Myrtle Beach, you'll see us on the beach pushing carts, selling Italian ice. We've had a contract for 4 years. We have another 3 years in our contract, and we generate a lot of revenue for the county and, of course, the state also in taxes, plus we actually pay a rent there to be there. It's probably close to $200,000 in rent, and another probably $120,000 in tax revenue for the state and the county. We employ, like Haley was saying, we employ mostly college students and high school students from Coastal, USC, Clemson, College of Charleston, and we enjoy the youth that work for us. We always hire quality workers to work for us, and that represent our company. So I drew up a proposal, and I think each one of you have it, of what kind of revenue for the county that we can generate. That's a modest estimate. It could be more, it could be less. I don't know what the area is, but what we're requesting is for the county to consider us possibly do it in Georgetown County. We're fully licensed, insured. We have workers' comp for all of our employees. It's a great amenity for the guests on the beach of Georgetown County. And is my time up?
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, sorry about that.
That's okay. Go ahead. You can wrap up. You can finish
Oh,
up.
okay. So what we're requesting to consider is if it's a possibility. The reason why we found out about it is we were actually inquiring to get a license to do it. And because last year somebody told me somebody else was doing it on the beach, and we figured, they were only doing like 1 or 2 carts. So we actually figured we put in for a license, and they told me you're not allowed. And I said, oh, okay, then we're not allowed. That's fine. But how come somebody's already doing it? And they said, well, they're not supposed to be doing it. So that's why we're here. And we would like you to consider us, and if it's a possibility.
Okay, thank you.
Our next speaker is Howell Lewis.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and County Council. Thanks for allowing me this time to advocate for something that I think will benefit Georgetown and its residents. I'm here to ask you to consider turning 3 of the East Bay tennis courts into 6 or 8 pickleball courts. Over the last several years, there are 3 different groups that have tried to get this done, but at that time, they needed all 6 courts for the Georgetown High School tennis team. And now that the high school has their own tennis courts, that's no longer an obstacle. So what we would like is to ask that when these courts are resurfaced, that we resurface them and make 3 tennis courts and 6 to 8 pickleball courts. The cost is no different except for the lines. Anyway, I think East Bay is a beautiful park. It's underused and the courts are in disrepair. We've got a recently formed East Bay Pickleball Group. In fact, the founding member's family donated the land that the park sits on. Georgetown County is currently adding tennis courts at the Stable Center, which is a great facility, but it's tennis only. And I think that cost is around $350,000. But there are no dedicated pickleball courts in Georgetown. There are more pickleball players than tennis players, by the way. It's our understanding that some funds have been allocated for resurfacing those courts. But we recently found out that we're not sure that's true, but we do know that there's some PARD grants available that would cover up to about $50,000. Pickleball is the fastest growing sport in the world. Myrtle Beach just approved an additional 54 courts, and even Aner and Loris are adding courts. Williamston, South Carolina built an 8-court facility, and its population is under 5,000. Every weekend in South Carolina, there are 5 to 10 tournaments. Even Belle Isle has pickleball courts and had a small tournament out there. Usually these tournaments bring in 100 to 200 players, which benefits your hotels, restaurants, and other local businesses. With the East Bay location, I would envision at least 4 to 6 tournaments a year. It's a beautiful location. People are going to want to use that. So that's 4 to 6 weekends during the year with full hotels and restaurants. The county would also receive money from the rent that the promoters of these tournaments pay to rent the courts. Local vendors, food trucks would benefit. Litchfield pickleball courts last weekend just had a tournament, one-day tournament, that had 100 to 200 people, and they were from North Carolina, Georgia, Hilton Head, Charleston. I would also expect that you have learn-to-play clinics, teaching clinics, such as they have for tennis at the Stable Center. I would expect summer camps for the children of Georgetown. Right now, there are no kids playing pickleball. It's even though that's the fastest growing demographic playing pickleball, or under 30, but there's no place for them to play. Georgetown has no dedicated pickleball courts. Pickleball is also becoming active in adaptive pickleball, wheelchair pickleball, and Special Olympics. Several of the local pickleball groups, oh gosh, I wasn't watching my clock. Anyway, don't take my word for it, Google it. The benefits of pickleball and city growth. Georgetown is not on Google Trends, but I just got on Google Trends. Carolina Forest had 100 searches for nearby pickleball courts the first week of March. Myrtle Beach had 67, Florence had 75. Can't find out what people search for in Georgetown, but they are not here. All right, I need to finish.
Dan Park.
Good evening. I'm Dan Park with Earthworks Group. I'm representing the project on Choppy Road. Just wanted to remind staff, or not staff, but the council that this is for an existing business and that it is a non-conforming use currently. We're just looking for the lowest level of commercial zoning that we can get for this, just to make this more compliant and be able to allow my client to expand his existing business and employ more people, you know? So if you guys have any questions for me, I'm sure we'll have them during the next portion, but we'll make sure that you guys knew we were here. Thank you.
Dan Clover.
Good evening. I want to thank you all for considering my application. I just wanted to mention that, well, I've been in business over 50 years. It's really a welding shop. I make manholes and manhole covers and drain grates, things like that that go in the ground and wherever you could dream of, in your home, in your shopping center, in gas stations, wherever. That's the kind of thing that we do. Like I said, I've been doing it over 50 years. And I've been in Georgetown around 10 years now. And the building, I bought this building about 10 years ago. And from what I understand, the building was built in 1967, and it's been a commercial industrial building ever since. And I don't understand when they came around to zoning it, because there was no zoning in the beginning. They zoned it as agriculture, and I don't know why, because it's been an industrial commercial space since 1967. And all my opposition have been driving past that industrial building since they've been in the neighborhood. All those homes have been built like in the 80s. And I just want to say that this building has been there since 1967, and they all should have been fully aware of what it was and where it was the whole time. And if anyone has any more questions, I'd be happy to answer them. Thank you.
Nathan Seals.
Hello, my name is Nathan Scales. I am legal counsel for the residents of Blackwater Loop under item 7C. Community over convenience. That's what I'm asking you to consider. Granting this action doesn't make sense from a current zoning standpoint, from a future planning's perspective, from an environmental perspective, from a policy perspective, nor from a common sense standpoint. It is also not a necessity. Why should council prioritize one private interest over an entire community? Convenience should not be a consideration in this matter. Fairfield Industries moved from New Jersey to Georgetown County in 2016 and has operated in a non-conforming use since that time. While the building Fairfield currently occupies predates the housing development predates Fairfield as a business. I think that's a very important distinction. I want to be very clear, we support growth here in Georgetown County, but in the right places. There are thousands of acres currently zoned for commercial use in this county. If this rezoning is granted, it tears at the fabric of an established neighborhood. It subjects residents to substantial safety and security risks due to increased non-residential traffic and unknown users at all hours. Noise and light pollution are major and serious concerns. This action also goes against county policies that protect floodplain land. Future zoning maps designate this area as RR. Surrounding areas are FA and residential. Granting this particular rezoning is the actual definition of spot zoning. Standard zoning practice is to conform to surrounding areas, not to modify its current zoning to conform with a non-conforming use. You already made this decision when you adopted this future land use map. The vote is simply whether to honor that plan. Before a decision is made, I ask that you visit the site to review the submitted letters from various homeowners so your decision reflects on the full impact of this community. This decision will become precedent. It will open the door to future actions and impact rulings. South Carolina is ranked #1 in population growth last year. Grand Strand and Charleston are two of the fastest growing areas in the country. People are drawn to this area for the peace and serenity it provides, to escape city life and all that comes with it, including commercial spaces. Keep the zones as they are, as they have been for the last 2 decades, as the future land maps show. Fairfield Industries can continue on with business, and Blackwater Loop can continue to be a peaceful residential community. Thank you.
Aaron Don Moyer.
As Black Sandpit Riverkeeper with Winyaw Rivers Alliance, I represent over 2,000 square miles of local watersheds and the communities within them, including the community on Blackwater Loop next to this rezoning request. I respectfully submit concerns regarding the request to rezone the 16.4 acre parcel at 4483 Choppy Road from forest agriculture to forest agriculture commercial for construction of a self-storage facility. First, a significant portion of this parcel is mapped as freshwater forested and shrub wetlands under the National Wetlands Inventory and is also located within an AE flood zone. These wetlands are hydrologically connected to Peters Creek, a tributary to the Black River, and to downstream conserved lands, including Ramsey Grove. Site disturbance, grading, or filling could affect wetland function, flood storage, downstream water quality, and adjacent conservation lands. Secondly, self-storage facilities typically introduce substantial impervious surface through densely sided roof structures and paved access drives. Combined with the flood zone designation, this warrants careful review. Third, a Georgetown County Water and Sewer District public water supply well is located nearby within the protection zone approximately 333 feet from the parcel boundary. Hydrologically connected wetlands lie within that protection zone boundary. Improperly managed runoff could transport contaminants from Fairfield Industries located on the same parcel. The proximity of a public drinking water source elevates the importance of groundwater protection and pollutant source control. Fourth, manufacturing activities at Fairfield Industries property, either presently or in the past, include products sometimes associated with PFAS or forever chemicals, which increases the sensitivity of this location given its wetland connections and proximity to a public water supply well. I've found highly elevated PFAS levels in Peters Creek, and there's no other industries nearby. Lastly, rezoning to include commercial activities at this parcel opens the door for this and other land rezoning in a quiet and untouched area of the Black to commercial presence. At the same time, this stretch of the Black River is becoming a state park. Do we really want to open this door right now? Given the mapped wetlands, floodplain designation, hydrologic connections, proximity to a public water supply well, documented water quality impairments, and on-site industrial activity, this rezoning request warrants careful and thorough scrutiny. Thank you.
David Etheridge.
Thank you, Chairman and County Council. I too am speaking against this as a resident of this area. When we recently purchased our property, and I actually looked at the zoning for the surrounding areas, and everything is zoned FA or either residential. So that really impacted my decision to purchase and build out in this area, because there would be no future expansion for manufacturing, industrial, or any other type of commercial facilities. There's no other commercial facilities within approximately 2 miles of this location. You know, it's all residential, as you've heard before. So one of the things that does concern me is changing the natural grade of the area. They're going to have to build up, put in retention ponds, the discharge for the stormwater. Where is that going to go? Is it going to dump straight into the wetlands, or is it going to be rerouted through some of our property to get to the river to the final destination? It's also going to increase traffic. Blackwater Loop, if you've never been there, I would highly recommend that you go and see it for yourself. And I would also recommend you go at a dusk, dark, or just after dark to see how natural. There's no light pollution. It's very peaceful. It's calm. Whereas whenever a storage facility is going to be built there, they have to put in lighting for security and for many other reasons. That's going to disrupt our neighborhood and impose that on all of us that literally surround this piece of property. Like I said, there's no other existing businesses there. There's no other commercial property. We're just asking that you guys consider that you keep the zoning plans that you have in place for the future, for us as the residents. And like was mentioned earlier, there's a lot of commercially zoned property around the county that would be much better suited for this type of establishment than in the center of a residential neighborhood. I think that is very, very much for you to consider on that as well. Like I said, I would highly recommend you go out and visit the site yourself and see directly the impacts that it's going to cause to our community. Thank you.
Monica Whalen.
Hi, my name is Monica Whalen, and I'm a staff attorney for the South Carolina Environmental Law Project, and I'm here to speak on item 7C. Thank you for the opportunity to provide comments. I urge the council to consider the following from the comprehensive plan. The natural resources element acknowledges that riverine systems as very important to the ecology of the natural habitat. And this rezoning request from forest agriculture to forest agriculture commercial would be inconsistent with certain goals and objectives of the natural resources element. One goal 3, is to protect and improve water quality for public health, the natural environment, recreation, and the long-term public water supply. The relevant objectives include reducing point and non-point source pollutants and ensuring that the continued functional integrity of the county's water bodies. Another relevant goal is goal 7, which is to protect the natural scenic beauty of the county's rivers for natural, ecological, and economic benefits. And then goal 8 is to promote and encourage the conservation of natural habitats, including river systems. And an objective under this goal is to work towards establishing more areas of protected land and to discourage development in environmentally sensitive areas. It is important to consider the long-term impacts that this rezoning could have on the natural system of the Black River and the new spot of ecotourism, or the Black River State Park. Thank you.
Matt Ralph. Yes, sorry, I couldn't read the last name.
Good evening. My name is Matt Roush. I appreciate the council hearing us tonight. My wife and I purchased our home on Blackwater Loop 28 August 2014. The warehouse with signage for Amatec at 4483 Choppy Road was a concern. Our real estate agent assured us the property was not an active business and zoned FA. Based on this information, we purchased our home and have enjoyed several quiet years there. In 2016, we began shopping for commercial property for our own business. The warehouse was for sale, but due to zoning, we purchased a different property zoned for the business we were in. Our home community continued to be a small, quiet place. In 2017, Fairfield moved their business from New Jersey, set up shop in the old Amatec warehouse, and began working outside of the zoning ordinance. Our neighborhood now has the industrial noise of metal crashing and banging throughout the day. As a community, we were unclear what could be done. This rezoning attempt brought all of these issues to our full attention. I learned of the rezoning days before the Planning Committee meeting, 19 February 2026, Well aware of community outrage, I approached Dan about purchasing the land around his warehouse. I made a verbal offer of $14,000 per acre, wetland or not, well above an average value of $8,000 per acre, for the purpose of leaving it the way it was. Dan responded that my offer did not blow his hair back, but he would trade the surrounding property for the 12.5-acre commercial lot beside the Dollar General. We inquired about this land. The asking price is $550,000. It's clear to me why Dan would like to rezone. Our ongoing investigation into the history of the warehouse property has raised many concerns about soil and water contamination issues. Freedom of information requests and soil testing from adjacent properties are pending. At present, owning this property is not practical. We do not know what exactly is being done at Fairfield, but their company website mentions they have made manhole covers, built custom trucks, fabricated race car parts, and created armament and munitions for the U.S. military. They also advertise powder coating on site under a different company name. Now the plan is to add storage units for another revenue stream. This rezoning attempts to grandfather in current operations and allow them to fill in the property to suit a vague plan for development. With commercial zoning, there's no telling what will come to our homes next through this company. We ask that the rezoning be denied and that the current FA zoning be enforced. Thank you for your time.
Felicia Rue Howard.
Good evening. I appreciate the opportunity to speak, but I want to forego the opportunity to speak about the item that has been withdrawn from the agenda, but I just want to take a moment to say how much I have appreciated the nonprofit spotlights that the county council has been doing. It's very uplifting and inspiring, and I'm glad you're doing it. So thank you.
Tyrone Frazier.
Good evening, Council. Since the 7B has been withdrawn, I'll go my time.
Tommy Goodwin.
Yes, good evening. I was wanting to speak on item 7B, but since it's been withdrawn, I'll withdraw my request. Thank you.
Crystal Grant. All right. And that's our final speaker.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. All right, we move down to the consent agenda, and thank you, everyone, for your comments. Consent agenda, we have 7 items on the consent agenda that have been approved via the agenda approval process. Task order number 8 to contract number 24-048, non-engineered road repair, resurfacing, sealing, marking, and drainage, IDIQ, $155,730. Assistant County Administrator and Public Service Director Carl Harvey has reviewed the proposal and received and recommends approval of the task order number 8 as quoted by Coastal Asphalt LLC. Procurement number 26022 for additional studies from Roseland Dredging Report. Public Services staff recommend approval of the proposal from GEL Engineering LLC utilizing the sole source justification method for jail to complete the additional studies and plans for necessary to approve the project toward permitting and implementation. Procurement number 26-023 for utility relocation services of Town of Andrews Drainage Improvements Phase 2, $113,485.38. Public Services staff recommends the approval of sole source procurement with Duke Energy to ensure timely completion of utility relocation and to maintain the overall project schedule. Contract number 23-027, task orders 12 through 16 for consolidated solid waste engineering and monitoring services in the amount of $127,208. Staff recommends approval of task orders 12 through 16 to bring reporting up to date and finalize submittals to South Carolina Department of Environmental Services. Bid number 26003, pickup and recycling of waste tires, $277,000 annually. Staff recommends award to the lowest responsible and responsible responsive and responsible offerer, 8 Oaks Recycling LLP of Jackson, South Carolina, at the rates quoted. Change order number 2 for contract 25-037 Highway 17 South at Litchfield Drainage Improvements, $264,617.22, given the unforeseen conditions and required adjustments, public services and capital project staff recommend approval of change order number 2 in the amount of $264,617.22 to ensure the safe and successful completion of this critical drainage improvement project. Contract number 23-055-MBI, task order number 1 for civil engineering services in the amount of $457,233.77. Public services and capital project staff have reviewed the proposal received from Michael Baker International Incorporated and recommend approval of task order number 1 under the IDIQ contract number 23055-MBI. Move down to second reading of ordinances, ordinance 26-05, amendment to the housing element of the comprehensive plan to include housing impact analysis as required by SC Code 6-4-12 regarding the use of ATAX funds for workforce housing. A report from Ms. Holly Richardson, our planning director. Ms. Richardson, the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As we discussed at the last meeting, Act 57 was passed by the state, and which allows us to utilize some of our local hospitality tax funding towards affordable housing. It allows us to use 15% of this annual tax revenue towards affordable housing. This provision does sunset on December 31st of 2030. One provision of the act, as we discussed, is that we have a housing impact analysis prior to the disbursement of the funds. As we discussed, that analysis has been prepared. It's in your packet. It was prepared by Catalyst Community Consulting and Together Consulting for the county. We went over that in some good detail last month. We all know that funding for affordable housing is limited. It's a large problem. Certainly, this funding is not going to solve the problem, but we think that opening up to further revenues to help us address the issue and work with some of our partners on this very important issue is certainly a good thing and something that we want to support. The attached analysis does need to be adopted as part of the housing element of our comprehensive plan. It's not a replacement of the housing element and will be included as an addendum. We also need to hold a public hearing anytime we amend our comprehensive plan. That will happen at the next meeting, pending we get second reading approval tonight. The Planning Commission did vote 7-0 to recommend approval for this amendment. Just a reminder of the next steps if this is approved. We will then need to provide a copy to the Department of Revenue, our state delegation, and the Tourism Expenditure Revenue Committee. And then those funds can be adopted as part of our budget for the next fiscal year, which I think you even talked about earlier tonight. I'll be glad to answer any questions.
Thank you, Ms. Richardson. Are there any questions for Ms. Richardson on ordinance 2605? Hearing none, the chair will entertain a motion on ordinance 2605, amendment to the housing element of the comprehensive plan to include the housing impact analysis as required by SC Code 6-4-12 regarding use of ATAX funds for workforce housing. Is there a motion on the floor?
So moved.
So moved by Councilor Newton. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilor Morant. Is there any discussion? All in favor, please raise your hands. All opposed, motion passes. Ordinance 2606 has been withdrawn. We move to ordinance 2607 to rezone one parcel totaling approximately 16.4 acres located at 4483 Choppy Road in Georgetown from forest agricultural to forest agricultural commercial. TMS number 03-0444-003-01-00 in Council District 7. Ms. Richardson, you have the floor.
Thank you. This property is currently zoned forest and agriculture. It does have a light industrial / warehouse use on the site along the front of the lot on Choppy Road. That building has been in operation since the 1960s and is considered a grandfathered non-conforming use in the FA zoning district. The applicant filed a request with us to rezone the tract, which is about 16.5 acres, from forest and agriculture to forest and agriculture / commercial. And the reason listed was to allow for a mini storage or self-storage facility to be added to the tract. The FAC zoning district allows for many uses, both residential and commercial, and it conditionally allows for self-storage facilities. Those conditions include that the lighting be shielded from the neighboring properties and that they erect a 6-foot-tall opaque fence or hedge as a buffer against any residential property. Again, FAC is a little more restrictive than a regular general commercial district that you might see along the highway. We frankly created the FA/C zoning district when we zoned the rural areas of the county to allow for some additional limited commercial uses. The difference between FA and FAC, and FA itself allows for some limited commercial like nurseries, veterinary offices, cell towers, some of those things are still allowed even in FA. FAC has the addition of 3 specific uses, which are office buildings, welding facilities with a limit of 4,000 square feet in size, and, 4, self-storage facilities, and vehicle maintenance and parking areas. So those 4 things are the difference in uses between FA and FAC. As you can see in your report, the setbacks from FA and FAC are exactly the same. The surrounding zoning in this area is all FA, forest agriculture, with mostly low-density residential or vacant forested properties. In staff's opinion, we don't consider this to be spot zoning based on the large size of the tract at 16 acres. As I mentioned, they would have to add a level 3 buffer for the south and western boundaries of the property because those are adjacent to the nearby residential uses. This property is partially located in the AE9 regulated flood zone according to our maps. Any development that was built in that area would have to conform to the flood zone requirements, of course. At an earlier meeting, the applicant did indicate that they would plan to build outside of that flood zone. There are also wetlands on the tract. Those wetlands are located on the southern side of the property, again in the flood zone area. There is an upland section on what I'm calling the northern side of the property. Both Blackwater Loop and Choppy Road are state roads, so any additional encroachment permits would need to come from the Department of Transportation. This property is shown on our future land use map today as rural residential, or RR, and the RR designation does allow for rural supporting commercial uses, institutional or community uses, and accessory uses in support of rural activities. We do not feel that a future land use map change is warranted from rezoning from FA to FAC. This is a straight rezoning request. Again, the applicant did mention the proposed specific use on their applications, which is why we bring it to you here. But of course, as a straight rezoning, if it's rezoned to FAC, any of those uses in FAC would be allowed. Before any land disturbance or building permits would be issued, we would also need to see a subdivision plat. If they are going to do mini storage, then that would have to be on a separate parcel as a separate principal use. We would obviously need a site plan showing they can meet the conditions, the buffer requirements, and the fencing would be reviewed by the zoning department, and then approvals from other necessary departments. I know a stormwater was mentioned. Obviously, they would need stormwater permits, wetlands permits and approvals, the Water and Sewer District and DOT for encroachment. The Planning Commission met on this request on February 19th of this year. There were several people that spoke in opposition to the rezoning, citing concerns that you've heard tonight, traffic, environmental issues, and flooding. The Planning Commission voted to recommend approval for the rezoning with a vote of 4-3. I'll be glad to answer any questions you might have.
Thank you, Ms. Richardson. Are there any questions for Ms. Richardson on ordinance 2607?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Councilman Morant?
Thank you. Ms. Richardson, I was looking through your reports and everything, and I just want to make sure that I'm clear. The applicant is asking for the rezoning to have mini storage and self-storage facility, from my understanding?
Yes, sir, according to the application.
Okay, now, I didn't see anything in your report indicating that that would be accessory to the business which is already operating on that particular tract of land. So nothing was mentioned concerning the self-storage or the mini storage or self-storage facility would be it would be an accessory to the building that's already there so that he can conduct his business. Nothing in the report indicates that.
I haven't heard any indication of that. It's my understanding that the plan would be to do a self-storage as an additional business, not something that would be storage for the current operation that's there.
So really he's talking about adding the self-storage as a new business on a forest and agricultural tract is what you're looking at.
That's my understanding, yes, sir.
And when you travel up and down Choppy Road, I guess, most of the facilities there are residential, which is in close proximity to this particular facility?
That's right. Most of the uses in that area are large lot residential uses and, you know, a good bit of vacant tracts.
And I think when I passed down there, there are some, it's more of an agrarian style, basically. You have a lot of animals coming down Choppy Road, you know, farms.
There are some areas with that, yes, sir.
There's that. And it's right on Peters Creek, it's where it is.
Mhm.
And there are some wetlands around Peters Creek. And the residents that are there, they have, as an accessory to their particular homes, they have garages and other things they can use as storage for that particular residence. Is that correct?
I believe some of them do. It certainly isn't allowed use in FA to build a storage facility for your residents.
Okay, but the mini storage we're talking about here is not, is not specifically affiliated with the business that's there. It's an entirely new business, commercial business, which is being asked to be applied to that particular property.
The statement on the application says the rezoning is being requested to allow for the construction of a mini storage facility on a vacant portion of the property.
Okay, so it's not affiliated with that one. Okay, so it's an extension of a new business. Well, it's a new business establishment on a forest agricultural tract, basically. Okay, thank you, Ms. Richardson.
Yes, sir.
Are there any further questions for Ms. Richardson? I have a couple. If we were to not approve the rezoning from FA to FAC, how does that impact the businesses currently running there?
I think it could continue to operate as a non-conforming business, and it's been in operation since the 60s. It was obviously there in 2008 when the property was zoned. I've been asked why was it zoned FA at that time, and I was here then, I don't remember specific discussions about this piece of property. You know, it could have been overlooked, it could have been with the intent that eventually a non-conforming use that, you know, that would go away. Sometimes that is it. Like you said, there isn't a lot of commercial development around the property and hasn't historically been that. But again, it is to staff's knowledge, it is a legally operating, non-conforming business the way it's operating today.
And it can continue regardless. There's no, we can't, if we don't approve this, we're not going to shut him down, right?
No.
Okay. What are hours of operation currently that they're operating at? Do you know?
I do not.
Okay. All right, that's about all I have. Anyone else?
Oh, yeah, I do have a quick question. Could you describe the Wacomonac overlay regarding storage facilities?
Yes, the Waccamaw overlay
For the
district
restrictions?
specifically prohibits mini storage, self-storage at this time. Hasn't always been that way, but.
All right, are there any further questions for Ms. Richardson on ordinance 2607? All right, hearing none, the chair will entertain a motion on ordinance 2607 to rezone one parcel totaling approximately 16.4 acres located at the 4483 Choppy Road in Georgetown from forest agriculture to forest agricultural commercial, TMS number 03-0444-003-01-00 in Council District 7. Is there a motion on the floor? Hearing no motion, the ordinance fails for lack of a motion and will no longer be considered by council. Move down to ordinance 2608 to rezone one parcel totaling .44 acres located at 86 Jessamine Avenue in Georgetown from the Yawkey Medical Park Plan Development PD to general commercial TMS number 02-0103-031-05-00 in Council District 7. Ms. Richardson, you have the floor.
Yes, sir. Mr. Chairman, this one might seem like a little bit of deja vu for you. We have done a previous rezoning in this area. This is the Yawkey Medical Park PD. It used to be called the Cancer Center PD. It's been created since 2002. The PD was originally approved basically for the Cancer Center and for various medical office buildings. They amended it in 2007 to add 2 tracts for additional medical offices. They added 1 more parcel in 2013. And then The applicant submitted an application in November to rezone 2 of the parcels from the PD back to general commercial. That was approved by council in January of this year. The property owner, who is the hospital, is now asking to remove 1 additional parcel from the PD and rezone it to general commercial as well. It was inadvertently left off. I think it was just a mistake. It should have been included in the previous request, so this one's kind of falling behind those 2. This parcel is 0.44 acres. This will leave 22 acres in the planned development, which significantly exceeds the 2-acre minimum required for a PD. Any changes to the exterior boundaries of a planned development have to come back through Planning Commission and County Council, which is why you need to review this change. The proposed commercial zoning allows for various commercial uses like gas stations, drive-through restaurants, retail, garages on 10,000 square foot lots with setbacks of 50 in the front, 10 on the side, and 15 in the rear. The surrounding tracts include the Medical Park PD, general commercial to the north across Jessamine Avenue and southeast across North Fraser, and MR10 zoning to the east across North Fraser Street. There are both commercial and residential uses in the area. The future land use map shows this property as residential. Therefore, in order to support the request, the map should be amended to commercial corridor if the rezoning request is approved. This property is not located in a flood zone. It's not considered to be spot zoning because it is adjacent to some commercial area there on Jessamine. The item right after this, 7E, is the accompanying future land use map amendment. The Planning Commission held a public hearing on this request. No one spoke in opposition. The Planning Commission voted 7-0 to recommend approval for the rezoning, and they also voted 7-0 to recommend approval for the future land use map change.
Thank you, Ms. Richardson. Are there any questions for Ms. Richardson on ordinance 2608?
Mr. Chairman.
Councilman Morant.
Thank you. Ms. Richardson, I understand that that council approved a rezoning on the first 2 lots, I think. Change it in the PD to general commercial. Now, both of those, that lot basically butted on 701, and then the lot right behind that one, if I'm not mistaken here. Okay, and that was on Jessamine Avenue. Now, the lot we're talking about now extends more into the residential area, does it not?
Yes.
And there are some residences right behind the proposed rezoning request.
Yes, there's one right adjacent to this one, and I didn't mention too, they would be required to buffer against that residential if there is commercial development on that lot, because it's residential next door.
Because we're talking about rezoning it to general commercial, which allows anything commercially to be affiliated in someone's front door, basically, even with the buffer.
Side door, but yes, sir.
Side door, okay,
With
side
the
door.
buffer requirement, I mean, they would have to buffer it. It's likely that these parcels would be developed together. The lot size minimum is 10,000 square feet, and this is 0.44 acres, so it exceeds that. But usually, commercial development, once you add in parking and drainage, ends up with a larger lot than that. So it's likely that it would be developed jointly, but certainly, the buffer would be the protection between that resident and that property.
Yeah, so we basically talk about establishing a commercial zone deeper within the community itself and no longer on 701, because this one is not located on 701, it's located on Jessamine within the community from what I'm looking at on the map here.
That's right, and it is a separate parcel right now.
It's a separate parcel, okay. And they can still utilize that parcel any other way other than commercial if council does not approve the rezoning request, isn't it?
Well, and remember, actually, this parcel is not zoned residential today. We're not taking it from residential to commercial, but we're taking it from the Yawkey Center PD to commercial. So it is essentially approved for medical offices right now.
Yeah, so they can still put medical offices on the side door of someone's residence, which probably will not be an issue. But have a gas station in front of it, may present an issue.
Yes, I mean, it kind of depends on what the layout for that was approved for the cancer center, which I don't think they're going to construct today. But if you're asking for the uses for that particular, if this doesn't get rezoned, then that particular parcel would, yes, still be designated for medical offices essentially, or parking for the medical, parking for the adjacent uses.
Which a medical facility or the parking for a medical facility can be beneficial to the residents of the community, but But a gas station on the side, though, probably not.
I'm sure they would prefer a medical facility to a gas station, yes, sir.
All right, thank you, Ms. Richardson.
Are there any further questions for Ms. Richardson on ordinance 2608?
One other thing, though, I think also, from what I've been looking at in your report, it does say also that that rezoning request is not in compliance with our future land use plan either. I think I saw in your report to say.
That's right. And the adjacent parcels on Jessamine and going up to 701 also were marked residential. We did amend those when we did the rezoning for the other two parcels.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Ms. Richardson, have they given an indication as to what that rezoned parcel, that .44 acres would be used for?
No, sir.
So they're just asking for a rezoning without a plan to general commercial?
The reasoning given in the application says this proposed use is better served as a general commercial parcel rather than part of the existing plan development. You know, I think the hospital's plans have changed for that property. They don't intend to build on it like they originally did. So they're looking to get it approved for commercial uses.
So potentially they could sell it as a general commercial property?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
In order to, sorry, I do have a question. In order to meet the comp plan, doesn't it make more sense to zone it into one of our residential zonings? It doesn't meet the comprehensive plan.
It does not. I mean, like I said, normally we're working with our new comprehensive plan not to get down to the lot by lot level. You know, we want to kind of treat the future land use map as a guide. So and we did it this case because it is going from residential to commercial. But we're trying to think of the future land use map in terms of areas and sections, you know, around an intersection. And that is an intersection, you know, it kind of, as Mr. Morant said, it kind of gets to how far do you want that commercial to go up against the residential? You know, I mean, there has to be a line somewhere. And in this case, I think that we were recommending it because it was somewhat of a commercial before. I mean, limited commercial with the medical, but it was somewhat of a commercial district.
Planning approved
Historically.
this one?
Yes,
They did.
Planning Commission did recommend approval.
Thank you.
Are there any further questions for Ms. Richardson?
I've just got a thought here, I've been looking at a lot of this stuff for the last few months when we were looking at starting some development over here on the western side of the county. And this just struck me as another situation where at some point physically, we're going to have commercial butting up against residential. And I don't know, I think we probably need to be discussing how we handle that transition, generally speaking, because I think we've got a lot of work that we got to do over here, generally speaking, about how we go forward with these things. We've got this Kent Road thing right now, and we've had some other things, and I've given it some thought, and I'd like to share that with you at some point. Anyway, that just made me think of that was, you know, where do we draw that line? Thank you.
Are there any further questions for Ms. Hawley? All right, hearing none, the chair will entertain a motion on ordinance 2608 to rezone one parcel totaling .44 acres located at 86 Jessamine Avenue in Georgetown from the Yawkey Medical Park Plan Development PD to General Commercial GC TMS number 02-0103-031-05-00 in Council District 7. Is there a motion on the floor? Hearing none, the ordinance fails for lack of a motion. And I'm assuming 2609, do we need to go, we still need to go with that one, right?
I think we need to present it,
Okay.
I guess, for action.
All right, we'll move on to ordinance 2609 to amend the future land use map for one parcel totaling .44 acres located in 86 Jessamine Avenue in Georgetown from residential to commercial corridor, TMS number 02-0103-031-05-00 in Council District 7. Ms. Richardson.
Yes, sir, same parcel, same request. This would be the amendment to the future land use map from RR to CC.
Thank you, ma'am. Are there any questions for Ms. Richardson?
Just for clarification purposes, the only reason why this is there now is to supplement the, if council had voted to approve the rezoning request.
Correct.
So since council has decided not to approve the rezoning, well, the rezoning request did not go forward, then the change in this particular land use plan is not needed at this point.
Correct.
Although it has to be considered, I understand that. Okay, but it served no purpose to actually change it. Thank you.
Are there any further questions for Ms. Richardson? Hearing none, the chair will entertain a motion on ordinance 2609 to amend the future land use map for one parcel totaling .44 acres located at 86 Jessamine Avenue in Georgetown from residential to commercial corridor, TMS number 02-0103-031-05-00. Is there a motion on the floor? Hearing none, the motion fails, or the ordinance fails for lack of a motion. We move down to ordinance 26-10, amendment of the fiscal year 25-26 budget ordinance. Ms. Colgrove, you have the floor.
Thank you. Ordinance 2610 amends the fiscal year 25-26 operating budget as outlined in the body of the ordinance. I'll be happy to answer any questions you might have. Otherwise, staff requests that you give second reading approval to ordinance 2610.
Thank you, Ms. Colgrove. Are there any questions for Ms. Colgrove on our ordinance 2610?
Yes, I think I saw there's some, let me get to it right quickly. But I think there is something in the amendment concerning some funding from the CPST back in 2014, if I'm not mistaken.
I believe that's the next,
That's the next one?
ordinance that's
Okay,
coming up.
okay,
Yes,
next
sir.
That's the reallocation on the next one. Do you have anything else, Councilman Moran? Or?
No, that's it. Sorry, I'm sorry.
Thank you. Are there any further questions for Ms. Colgrove on ordinance 26-10? Hearing none, the chair will entertain a motion on ordinance 2610 to amend the fiscal year 25-26 budget ordinance.
So moved.
So moved by Councilor Newton. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilor Cooper. Is there any discussion? All in favor, please raise your hand. All opposed? Ordinance passes 7-0. We move down to ordinance 26-11, an ordinance to amend the ordinance 2021-05 and to ratify, authorize, and reallocate and approve expenditures of capital sales tax revenues for community projects. We have a report from Ms. Beth Goodall, Director of
Mr.
Regulations.
Chairman, members of council, this is basically a cleanup ordinance that was needed to reallocate or retitle a couple of the projects that were originally approved in the 2015 to 2019 excess capital project sales tax fund projects. This ordinance actually cleans up. Originally, tennis courts were projected for North Santee and Sandpit Park. They were constructed at North Santee as proposed. The community chose a different route and wanted park improvements at Sandpit Park. So this reallocates officially the funding for the picnic shelters, fitness equipment, playground equipment, a number of things that the community selected in Sandpit when they chose not to do tennis courts. Also, originally, South Island Park was projected to build a court project as well. There was not enough funding for that particular court project, so we have done the demolition of the courts that had exceeded their usable lifespan. Now want to reallocate the balance that is there to do park improvements, Phase 1 park improvements at South Island Park, which would include playground updates, parking, picnic area, fencing, some major updates in the playground end of South Island Park. So this is basically just a cleanup to retitle the funding that was already in place.
Thank you, Ms. Goodell. Are there any questions for Ms. Goodell on ordinance 2611?
Ms. Goodall, is there any other funding left under that CPST from 2014? This would actually clean up all the balance that's there.
So we have to bring back your funding. I don't know that we're gonna need to look at some savings we had from your community park projects. And I think you've discussed what you'd like to see where that go. So I think we're going to bring that back to you. We brought this as a cleanup ordinance for Bishop Cooper's area, and then we'll bring yours back to finish your two projects.
And that would expend all the funds from the CPSD in 2014. All the funds would be expended at that particular time.
It would expend everything that I had anything to do with, so.
Right. That's what I'm getting at. Okay. Okay.
A question, Ms. Beth. This is the 2014 thing where we went to work on that to get the $6 million to dredge the channel out. What about that $6 million? Where is it?
So I'll let the administrator give you that, because that wasn't anything that I was allocated.
I thought you would say that.
It is still there and available for allocation at some point in time.
Okay.
I am sure we're going to have to do a project
I am
at some
sure
point
we're
in
gonna have
time
to do
along
one
that.
also. Okay.
So it remains in play.
All right. Well, you keep me posted if somebody comes up with an idea.
Yes,
If you
sir.
would do that.
I have several.
Thank you. You've got some? You can't have my $6 million.
I have one great big project in mind. All right, are any further questions for Ms. Goodell on ordinance 2611, an ordinance to amend the ordinance, the 2021-05, and to ratify, authorize, reallocate, and approve the expenditures of capital sales tax revenues for community projects? Hearing none, the chair will entertain a motion on ordinance 2611.
So moved.
So moved by Counselor Newton, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Counselor Cooper. Any discussion? All in favor, please raise your hands. All opposed, ordinance passes. Move down to first reading of ordinances. Note the following ordinance is to be read in the record by title only. Ordinance 26-12, authorizing the issuance and sale of not exceeding $25 million general obligation bonds in one or more years in one or more series with appropriate series designations, and the issuance of general obligation bond anticipation notes in one or more years in one or more series with appropriate series designations by Georgetown County, South Carolina, providing for the form of the bonds and notes, fixing certain details of the bonds, fixing certain details of the bonds and notes, authorizing the county administrator or her lawfully authorized designee to determine certain matters relating to the bonds and notes, providing for the payment of the bonds and notes and the disposition of the proceeds thereof, and other matters relating thereto. Move down to approval of minutes, the regular council meeting minutes for March the 10th, 2026. Is there a motion on the floor?
So moved.
So moved by Councilor Charlton. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilor Cooper. Is there any discussion? All in favor, please raise your hand. All opposed, the meeting minutes are approved. Is there any further business to come before council at this time?
Mr. Chairman, things have not turned out the way I thought they would tonight as far as voting, but we've got a lot of folks out here in the audience from the western side of the county. And as I was saying earlier, I've been concerned about how we move forward as a group. So if you'll bear with me a little bit, I actually wrote this, and I said my comments today will be directed to the real estate brokers, residential and commercial developers. Start out by saying I am one of 7 councilors elected by the citizens of Georgetown County. My job is to serve, protect, and represent the residents of our county. More specifically, our job is to set the policy involved in the review and ratification of the elements of our comprehensive plan and the ordinances that ensure that we follow the issues in effect of the plan. We accomplish these goals by providing what I call essential and non-essential services. These include law enforcement, fire protection, emergency medical services, public works, a judicial system, a landfill, and some of what I refer to as non-essential services includes parks and requisition and aging services. By state law, these services must be funded through county property taxes and other taxes and fees. For the most part, this includes the capital to construct our facilities and to operate and to operate and maintain everything our salaried and hourly staff does to provide services, as I mentioned, for our citizens. The only service that we do not provide to our citizens is the ability to manage state roads and within our county. We do not maintain them, and we cannot change their design. This is done locally by GSATS. That's the Grand Strand Area Transportation Study, a board of representatives from Georgetown County, Horry County, and Brunswick counties control what and how this traffic infrastructure is managed. I have laid out the aforementioned because herein lies the crux of the struggle between the private sector and the public sector. Those of you in the private sector are in business to make money, while those of us in the public sector are here to protect the people and environment of the county. In order to maximize your profits, you must build as many residential and/or commercial dwellings as the local law will allow. Our job is to determine which zoning district we will allow you to follow, along with any allowances or restrictions we deem necessary for us to make the smooth transition to final acceptance and the management of the development. When the issue is land use and/or environment, I consider these things. They are population density, stormwater, and wetlands. With regard to land use, our planning staff focuses on lot size and the number of dwellings per lot. My metric regarding land use is the number of people per acre. The people cause congestion, not dwellings, and congestion impacts our quality of life. Now I'm going to talk a little bit about this Kent Road thing. Here are my thoughts regarding the 240-acre tract on Kent Road. In order to keep the math simple, I will estimate 40 acres are wetlands and 200 acres are usable land. What I propose is 1/4 acre per acre for the usable of the usable land can be developed. That's 1/4 acre per acre. That's about 11,000 square feet. Just keep that in the back of your mind. This equates to 200 buildable lots. Studies based on the 2020 census shows that in our county, we have an average of 2.5 to 3 people residing in our permanent 4% residence, which equals 500 to 600 people. That's what we'd have if we went with my idea with this 1/4 acre per acre. If we allow the change from FA to MR10, we'll be allowing the developer to create 871 lots. Infrastructure requirements will reduce the lots by 20%, leaving a number of lots at about 700. If all the lots were developed, we could experience an increase in population on Kent Road of up to 2,000 new residents. The impact of the county would be huge, but what we cannot control, the increase in traffic on Kent Road, will be anybody's guess. Our planning department is now incorporating a new concept called clustered dwellings. This practice eliminates sprawl, a term used to describe older developments that converted large areas of undisturbed land to housing. This type of development converted a large area from pervious area to some level of impervious land, which impacted stormwater runoff. Conversely, clustering confines all the approved lots to a small area of the tract, maximizing the natural space in perpetuity. Among other things, this creates a favorable condition, leaving large areas of pervious surface to absorb stormwater, which is becoming a real problem here in Georgetown County. If we require the development to be clustered, the 200 lots would occupy 50 acres and 50 acres for required development infrastructure. That's all the roads and everything else that go into it. So the remaining 100 acres would be undisturbed pervious land would continue to absorb stormwater. Again, stormwater is a problem. This is a big step in the right direction. When the developer sells these dwellings, it will be the county who has to begin providing the services mentioned earlier. By law, we will take on the task with no extra money in the coffers, other than maybe some impact fees, to fund the services we provide. If we are required to make capital investments, it will be years before we will break even. And I'm talking about their new fire stations and things like that, that sort of thing. The new dwellings will also need to be priced at a point which will generate the property taxes required to break even for the cost of providing the services. In closing, there's another type of land use that I would support. I will call this development mini farms. Lots could be a minimum 3 acres and a top end of 8 to 10 acres. The development would have no curbs and gutters, no paved roads, water would be provided by wells, and sewer would be provided through septic systems. Developments like this will check 2 of my boxes: low population density and a minimum stormwater problem. So that's what I'm thinking as an individual counselor we need to be looking at, is this type of development over here on this side, where it's going to be a lower population, as you could see by having 500 to 600 people instead of 2,000 in this development that's on the table. So I'll leave you with that. That's just my thoughts. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Anderson. Is there any further business to come before council at this time? Hearing none, the chair will entertain a motion to adjourn. So moved by Councilor Newton. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilor Morant. Is there any discussion? All in favor, please raise your hand. All opposed? We stand adjourned.